Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. UCF continues to do very good work in the transfer portal, landing another commitment from former Miami Hurricane quarterback Jacurri Brown. And you look at this commitment and you just kind of say this is a perfect fit for Jacurri Brown from really two different standpoints. One, Jacurri Brown's a quarterback that's really only going into year 3 of his college football career. Not a lot of people appreciate that because he started some games as a true freshman. As much potential as Jacurri Brown has, the Miami Hurricane fans will be the first to tell you that he needs some more polish. He needs a little bit more development. He goes to a UCF program where he's not going to be asked to start games for UCF. He's going to be able to sit behind KJ Jefferson, develop as a quarterback. That's one of the really good fits. The other side of it is the Gus Malzahn offense, I think, is a much better schematic fit for Jacurri Brown's skill sets than it was under Shannon Dawson with this Miami Hurricanes program. You look at Shannon Dawson, what he wants to do on offense, it's not necessarily using the quarterback as an athlete, getting them outside the pocket, using them as runners. It's much more predicated on that quarterback delivering balls from the pocket. That's not exactly Jacurri Brown's game. You go to Gus Malzahn, how he wants to use quarterbacks. You look at John Rice Plumlee, you look at how they're going to use KJ Jefferson. They want athletic quarterbacks that can get outside the pocket, that can be utilized as rushers. That's the fit. That's when Jacurri Brown is at his best. And I think a lot of Miami Hurricane fans will share this sentiment in terms of you're kind of rooting for Jacurri Brown to put it all together, because this is a player that, in my mind, can be an extremely exciting player at the college level. If he does put it together, he'll have 3 years of eligibility to do just that. Want to get into Jacurri Brown, talk about what this UCF program is doing on the offensive side of the football. Before we get into it, as always, just want to say thank you to you guys. Y'all know I've had a blast talking the transfer portal the last week and a half, 2 weeks. It cannot thank you guys enough for rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, enjoy the updates, consider subscribing to the channel. Much more importantly, would love to hear how people are feeling about this one in the comment section, whether you're a Miami Hurricane fan, whether a UCF fan. Would love to get some feedback. And without further ado, let's get into this one now. I want to take us back to Jacurri Brown coming out of high school, a guy that we talked about when he was coming out in terms of, hey, a super good athlete, a guy that we're all excited for to get on a college football field, but a guy that as a passer needs to put it together from a mechanics standpoint, from a progression standpoint. Jacurri Brown at the high school level put up some phenomenal numbers as a high school athlete, a guy that ran for over 3,000 yards, rushed for over 3,000 yards, a total of over 60 touchdowns during his high school career. This was a guy that was prolific as a rusher at the high school level. You saw that on the film when he played for the Miami Hurricanes as well. You look at where he needs to clean up. Some of the mechanics with the release, no doubt that was a thing going back to high school. And then just kind of having command of the offense, playing within the offense, making the right decisions. There is a lot of development that needs to take place for Jacurri Brown, but having redshirted that year in 2023, he's a guy that has 3 years of eligibility remaining. And you look at the quarterback runway for UCF. One, KJ Jefferson is a really good fit within this UCF program. We talked about that all the way back when he committed to UCF. And then you start looking at 2025 and 2026 for a UCF program that is clearly going in the right direction, and say, hey, we have a guy in Jacurri Brown that could be a damn good quarterback for us for 2025 and 2026 as well. I like this fit. I think he's a guy that is a perfect backup for KJ Jefferson. Knock on wood, if KJ Jefferson goes down, you put in a guy like Jacurri Brown and say, we're going to run the exact same offense, very similar body type to KJ Jefferson, not only big, but thick. Jacurri Brown, 6'4", 220, looks even bigger than that when he has the pads on. Like KJ Jefferson, can deal with contact as a runner at that quarterback position. At times, Miami using him as a wildcat quarterback. I believe at times even gave him some end arounds. This was a guy that they wanted to get involved in this offense, but with Shannon Dawson taking over, I just didn't think it was a great fit for Jacurri Brown. I give him a lot of credit for staying with that Hurricanes program, battling it out. It just didn't seem like it was working out, and I think he lands in just the ideal spot for Jacurri Brown. And two things I want to talk about. One, you take a look at what UCF is doing in the transfer portal. Nigel Lee Kelly, we talked about last week. You added a guy in Traquan Fagans who played some really good football, was a highly recruited guy coming out of high school, another guy that's only going into year 3 of his college football career, started 3 games for UCS. This is USC, excuse me. This is a guy that has played a lot of football, has played at a solid level. I'm really excited about some of the additions UCF is making in the transfer portal. And you take a look at this team specifically on the offensive side of the football heading into 2024. You look at what made UCF so good in 2023. It was one of the best rushing attacks that you saw in college football. You look at the personnel that they have coming in 2024. You bring in KJ Jefferson, a guy that's a different kind of runner than John Rice Plumlee, but a very good runner of the football in KJ Jefferson, a guy that is pretty much a linebacker running the football when he's getting downhill. Then you look at the running back room and say, RJ Harvey was one of the more productive running backs in all of college football and a damn good running back for UCF last year. He's coming back in 2024. KJ Jefferson, RJ Harvey, that is a dynamic backfield for UCF with a guy that's calling the plays in Gus Malzahn, who knows how to use guys and implement a rushing attack. Then you look at some of the pass catchers. I mean, Kobe Hudson was a stud for UCF, a guy that probably could have gone to the NFL draft, decides to stay. That is, in my mind, a true wide receiver one. You have a guy in Xavier Townsend who is elite with the football in his hands. You start looking at this UCF team and say, this is going to be a dangerous team in the Big 12. Inconsistent at times during their first year of Power 5 play last year. I think you see that kind of smooth itself over. The combination of getting it going on the high school trail, using the transfer portal. Gus Malzahn has created a UCF team that can be extremely dangerous, and we kind of talked about that, right? UCF jumping up to that Power 5 level. This is a program that has a lot in place to be a very good program over the next 5 to 10 years, right? Elite location, recruiting Florida talent. It's a Power 5 program. Wearing that Power 5 program or patch, I should say Power 4 patch on your jersey, that means a little bit more on the recruiting trail. You're seeing the recruiting go in the right direction. And I think Gus Malzahn is exactly the right man for the job. The facilities are becoming top-notch for UCF as well. This is a program that not only going to be dangerous in 2024, but going to be a team that's going to be dangerous in the next couple of years at the college football level. Really excited with what's cooking for UCF. Jacurri Brown, a really just perfect fit with this UCF program. I'm rooting for him. I think a lot of Miami Hurricane fans are rooting for him as well. Wanted to hop on, give you guys some of my takes. Again, appreciate y'all rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.